when you do speak to Bob again, will you give him my very best?
He's a darling
Tell him
man.
I do mean to write to him. I'm the world's worst correspondent.
Yeah.
But I do mean to, and I think of him, and I found him very charming on the phone and in his letters.
As he is.
As I find you.
A complete charmer. He really is. You said it quite right. He works, as you know, for a television station up in British Columbia, a television station in Kelowna.
What does he do, actually?
He's a writer.
Oh, how nice.
He's a writer, and he is a collector. And I'll tell you right now, I've been one myself and still am to a degree, but collectors are all nuts. Do you know that? No, we're a weird breed.
Well, you know, it's very interesting because there's a young fellow, and there's so many of the young people I hear from. There's one that's just, he paid $30 for one of my records.
Isn't that
and
flattering?
He's not particularly affluent. And he said, you're going to be awfully angry with me, and I really was. But I can understand. He said, well, I wanted it, and I have it.
Yeah.
And I think he found it up in Canada, incidentally.
Mm-hmm. And that you never recorded what we call acoustically. What year did you make your very first record? You recall?
Oh, you're really upsetting me because, you're dating me so horribly. I wish you wouldn't.
No.
But I guess I don't truly remember. I think it was around, they have something in 1927, but actually, I think they're wrong. I did something, it said from the year, the song was from the year, but I liked it and did it a couple of years later. I would say about 1928 was my first one.
Right. But
they do put on some of the sleeves of the record. I suppose it makes it more interesting to collectors to make them a little older. And, of course, I like to make it a little younger. What shall I say?
Yeah. Annette, would you please tell me what it was like to make a recording in the 1920s, the type of equipment that you worked with? Can you actually walk me into a recording studio and tell me what it was like?
Well, I can say this. My husband, whom I afterwards married, was A&R man for, first of all, Pathé Records, and then for Harmony and all the small labels, and then for Columbia. And he also became, later he left to become my manager. And I think it was pretty much as it is today. I would walk in scared out of my and all the musicians were there, and there were some excellent ones. Oh, I can't begin.
Yeah, you must have worked with the Manny Kleins and
yes,
the
I understand he's on the coast now.
Yes, and the
studio work, and he was so fun. In fact, I had magnificent musicians, but the trouble was, I didn't have an awful lot of arrangements. They were usually head arrangements. We'd come in, and they'd have perhaps lead sheets or something. And they'd make up an introduction, and sometimes, if it isn't all worked out ahead of time, it could be a bit of a shambles. And then I was always so nervous and bad because I really was a kid, and I wouldn't want to. For instance, I had such respect for the musicians that if I would know it wasn't right, wasn't the way I wanted it, but I wouldn't want to do it over again and make the musicians stay, you know what I mean?
Annette, if you'll pardon me for saying so, I think you're just a little too damn humble. I
know it can be sickening, can't it? I know it's sickening, but this is the way I feel, and I can't be any different.
Annette, a trifle personal, just a little. I don't usually do this. At what age did you retire from the recording industry?
I don't really remember. I swear I don't remember. But I tell you can find it on, you know Brian Rust?
Yes, he did a fine discography from England, right?
Yes, well, he's a gorgeous person. He's been over here a couple of times.
Oh, you've met him?
And he, of course, they issued some couple of albums over there. And on the sleeve, he wrote the date that I retired and my age at my retirement. But I swear to heavens, I can't remember. You know, when you line up about your age, you can't remember.
Darling, at our age, we don't, but I think that you were in your 20s when you got out.
Will you tell me your name again? Because
it's Jack Cullen.
This isn't a terribly good connection for you.
It's fine for me.
And I want to really know your name so that I can remember you. What is your name?
It is Jack Cullen.
Jack Cullen.
That's right.
Would you be Irish by any chance?
Oh, wouldn't you know it, yes.
Well, you see, you're one of my own people.
Well, I'm not too proud of the Irish these days, Annette.
Well, I know.
They're raising hell over there.
Sad thing.
Yeah.
It's a dreadfully sad thing, and I mean, what can we say?
Nothing.
There are all sides to every question.
I suppose
but
so.
It's delightful to talk to you. I really am enjoying it, and it's great that you kind of fished me out.
Yeah, I'm going to leave you with one tune, and just before we go, just a few more quick questions. What is life like for you these days? I hope your husband is still with you. And
no, he is not.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And I work. I'm doing church work at St. Agnes Church. That's a Midtown church.
Right.
And I'm quite happy. I didn't marry again.
Mm-hmm.
Stayed an awful lot, thank heavens.
Do you have a family, Annette?
No, I don't have any children.
Oh, that's kind of a pity in a way.
Yes,
but,
it is.
But I hope you're rich with friends. That's just as important.
I am very, very rich with friends and very happy and really happy in my life.
Annette, did life leave you with a couple of bucks to see yourself through?
He left me with a great deal of money, but I just don't have very much idea of money. And my mother had very serious illnesses, and that eats money way very. I'm telling you the story of my life. This is like a soap opera.
Oh, you're darling to tell it to me. Annette, I won't take any more of your time.
All right.
Let me ask you this: what's the weather like today in New York?
What are you going to ask me?
What's the weather like in New York today? The weather.
The weather?
Yeah.
Well, we had a storm today, and it's been terribly, terribly warm. Just about 90.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I'll tell you one more thing. I'm started to book some acts. I have an act opening tonight, and because I didn't feel too well, I didn't make the scene. But they're very good. It's a duo, very, very Lenny Tristano type of thing.
Oh boy.
I may do that too.
Good. Do you ever lift your voice in song anymore, just for fun?
Oh, sure, occasionally, but I don't, if nobody's around, not too many people, just a few musicians. That's all right, and I jam.
You son of a gun.
Look, take care of yourself, and thank you very much for remembering me. It's very sweet of you.
We'll talk again. Thank you very much.
Not at all. Bye-bye.
Annette Hanshaw from New York City, one of the stars of the 20s into the early 1930s. It's nice to remember them. Here's one more from Annette Hanshaw.
Shades of night are creeping, willow trees are weeping, old folks and babies are sleeping, silver stars are gleaming, all alone I'm scheming, scheming to get you out here, my dear. Come tiptoe to the window, by the window, that is where I'll be. Come tiptoe through the tulips with me.
No Tiny Tim here. Here's the original.
Tiptoe from your pillow to the shadow of a willow tree, and tiptoe through the tulips with me. Flowers we'll stray, we'll keep the showers away, and if I kiss you in the garden, in the moonlight, will you pardon me? Come tiptoe through the tulips with me. By the window, that is where I'll be. Come tiptoe through the tulips with me. Tiptoe from your pillow to the shadow of a willow tree, and tiptoe through the tulips with me. Just knee deep I kiss you in the garden, in the moonlight, will you pardon me? Come tiptoe through the tulips, tiptoe through the tulips with me. That's all.